This is Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shake it, bro.
Wake your fuck ass up. That crust out your eyes.
Some people are describing it as a tragic masterpiece. You know, in any case, if you're a fan of music culture, and Amy Winehouse, her loss really still is unsettling to a lot of us that just believe that, man, what an amazing, gifted, talented, spirited person. Very soulful, which threw a lot of us off in the States. We were like, wow, who is this girl? This white girl can sing, right? Well, they put together a documentary about her life. We have two special guests here, Asif Kapadia, who's the director, and her first manager and longtime friend, Nick Shymansky. That's correct? Yep, I'm killing it. I'm killing it right now. I'm killing it. All right, welcome to the show, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Asif, you worked with a lot of films you've been very celebrated. You know, in some of the films you worked in. Lucky, you call it Lucky. Then you produced one of the highest grossing documentaries out of the UK. Was it Sinner?
Yeah, Sinner. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that yet, man. Damn, why you keep asking me those questions? You're just reading it. You're just reading it. No, I read up in my research on you. Like, who is this guy that put this together? You know, it's hard to do these kind of documentaries because you want to tell a complete story, right? And you want to be fair, and you also want to answer a lot of questions. And going into this, what questions were answered for you that you had about Amy?
I mean, I knew, like a lot of people, she had a great voice, but I guess I had a lot of questions about why was she performing when she looked like she was in such a bad way towards the end? Why did it have to pan out the way it did? Was there any other way it could have gone? Also, I'm a North Londoner. She lived very close to where I lived. You know, she lived kind of half a mile down the street. So she was a local girl that did well. You know, there was something about her that she was very... I wanted to kind of take her off the pedestal from being this star to being the ordinary girl that she seemed to be, the way she talked, the way she acted, and just try to understand her better. And also, I guess what I found out is that people had a kind of a low opinion of her as a person. They may have liked the songs and liked the records or liked the voice, but they didn't think much of her. Yeah. And I felt like I wanted to humanize her. When I started doing research and talking to people like Nick and other friends of hers, you realize everyone said she was great. And are you going to make a film about the real Amy? Not the person that she seemed to become or the person that the paparazzi said she was, but the real girl. And that's, I guess, what the mission became.
That's what the mission became. Nick, you were first manager, longtime friend. Yeah. That clip was of Amy that we just played, her talking about handling fame. She wasn't sure if she'll be able to handle fame?
Yeah. I mean, Amy's drive wasn't fame and fortune. It was to make the music she wanted to make. And you know, she was driven to be in the environment where she could record great music, listen to great music. And I think sometimes people assume if you're famous or successful, you know, people get it mixed up. Sometimes just being brilliant doesn't mean you want the fame and money. You're driven to other things. And I think in hindsight, we look back and realize that Amy was never chasing fame and fortune. That sort of came accidentally.
What happened with you guys? You were a first manager. Did you start working with her at some point?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of see that in the film. Basically, we worked together for 7 years, and then things got very tricky. She started experimenting in heavy drugs and getting a bit lost, and she was clearly suffering from depression. And I made a stance. I made a position with her, basically saying either get yourself sorted out or I can't be around. And then, you know, I learned the harshest lesson in entertainment, which is when you make a move like that, there's always someone else ready to jump in.
Jump right back in, right?
And take your position.
Yeah, it's a dirty game.
Rule number one.
Yeah,
dirty
I
game.
learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about people ready to jump in. You know, a lot of times you don't get support when you jump in and do a project like this. And for us, say Whitney Houston or Aaliyah on this end where there were films made as well, and you just sort of backlash coming from hell to high water. You know, how has it been? Have you gotten support from her family, people backlash? You know, how have it been for you?
Well, this film took about 3 years to make. We spent a long time kind of working on it. I spoke to over 100 people during the making of it. Everyone, family, friends, management, band members, everyone around to try to get, because I didn't meet Amy. I never saw her, never met her, never saw her live. So I was on the outside coming in. I'm not in the music business. I don't know how the music business works. I'm totally an outsider.
Okay.
And I kind of play on that ignorance, I guess, because I'm kind of learning as I'm going along. Therefore, I'm a bit like the audience. And it was a slow process. It took a long time to earn the trust of people. But one by one, people like Nick and then her friends and then everybody in the end spoke. Partly because I felt like they had to speak. They were carrying a lot of pain. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of issues that hadn't been dealt with because Amy had died. And it's like no one really dealt with what had happened and what went on. So part of the process of making a film, it almost became like therapy for people to sit down and to just get things off their chest that they were carrying about what they felt had happened. And they were kind of felt they couldn't help. They were somewhere in the distance. Nick was a good example of that. But there were a lot of people I spoke to all over the world, right the way up to people like Yasin Bey and Mos Def and people like that. They felt the same way because they were seeing this thing happen to their friend.
Right.
Her father, Mitch Winehouse, have publicly spoken out and said that he wants to make his own documentary to tell the truth, and that he felt like his comments were taken out of context. One of which where he said Amy didn't need rehab, but that was in 2005. But the way the movie played, he felt like it just took his statement out of context, and he talked about her boyfriend, Rez Travis, at the time, that being taken out of the film. How do you respond to that, where they feel like it's not telling the real story and he wants to do his own documentary?
I think it's a real difficulty when you make a film like this, where it's impossible to please everyone all of the time.
Yeah.
If you look carefully at what her father has said, like you said, he's quite specific about a 2-hour film, about 2 beats, 2 moments. He felt like his words were edited a little bit at the beginning, and it felt like there's a section of her life which isn't in the film enough towards the ending. But the rest of the film, there's another, huge amount of film that's in there, which he hasn't kind of complained about. He also has said to people, go and see it and judge for yourself, because Amy comes out of it great. My main intention was to make a film about Amy.
Yeah.
The clue is in the title. People they didn't have a high regard of her. They didn't really know who she was. She's funny. She's intelligent. She's an amazing writer. She's an amazing performer. And you get to essentially hang out with her.
Yeah.
So the main thing that comes out of it is you realize who she was. And then we have a little bit of people around her. But the film's not about other people around her. It's about her. She's pretty much on screen the whole time. So you're just looking at her eyes and you're looking at her body and you're looking at her face and you're just seeing how gradually it's changing and how it's been affected by the fact that she has these addictive issues. She's got problems. At the beginning, she was able to express that and deal with her problems through her art. She wrote about it. She turned it into a song. She sang about it. She felt it and turned something negative into something positive. The problem for her is that she became famous and became hounded by the press. It became the problem. Rehab, the song, which is based on a real incident, which Nick is the guy who took her to the rehab. That's what you find out during the film. You realize that every song is based on a real moment in time. The song then became the problem, which she, in a way, couldn't escape from.
So when she was saying no, she was talking to you, Nick.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as melodic as that at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a song that a lot of the great songs we all listen to, a lot of the great Motown songs, they're songs that, because the tempo's up and the melody's catchy, we sometimes forget we're listening to something really serious.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that song's a good example of a song where, because it's catchy, it's it can feel like a fun song, but when you see what ended up happening 5 years later, it's not such a funny song anymore.
Yeah.
And that was my frustration at the time. When I first heard the song, I was like, this isn't funny. You're in a bad place.
Yeah.
And if you don't get hold of this soon, God knows where it's going to end up. And unfortunately, it ended up in the worst possible place it could have.
Asif is here. Nick is here. You want to talk with them, see if you can find out more information about what they discovered or what Nick already knew about Amy Winehouse. 888-742-3345. Give us a call. Rehab, Amy Winehouse. Asif. Am I saying it correctly?
There's no wrong.
There's no wrong.
What a beautiful answer.
Damn, there's no wrong. Asif Kapadia is here. Nick Shymansky is here. And Asif is the director of this new documentary that's being released tomorrow called Amy, and it's about the life and times, if you will, of Amy Winehouse up into her untimely demise. And you've had over 100 interviews, including family, friends, co-workers, friends. We have Nick here, too, who was her first manager. And this is just really interesting to us. Really, we want to drive people to go to the theaters and see it for yourself. because we follow a lot of artists and we don't understand. We just see what's on the big screen, or we see when she won. I remember when she won the Grammys, and it was just seemed like life was just all happiness and glee, and then you find out that people are fighting these inner demons, just like regular, average, everyday folks.
Yep.
And so I think this documentary will hopefully reveal everything about a side of Amy Winehouse that we weren't privy to. Tracy, you have a question?
Yeah. And Nick, I know obviously you knew Amy in a myriad of ways, but I think that's something both of you guys can answer. When you're uncovering all of these aspects of her character and her lifestyle, was there anything that actually surprised you that was new?
For me, actually, I didn't know that before I met her when she was 14, she was taking an antidepressant called Seroxat. I didn't know that. I learned that from the film. I didn't know that she was bulimic. That's a real shock to me. The time I was around her, I never noticed anything, unusual about her eating habits. So, I thought I knew everything about Amy. And then Asif and his team came along and they really spent a proper amount of time going through it, researching it. And so when I saw the film, it felt totally like the Amy I knew and the story that I saw unfold. But actually, I learnt a lot as well, which was a real surprise.
Yeah.
What I would say, having not actually met Amy or seen her live, what I was really surprised at is her humour. She's really funny. I mean, when you don't expect this film to be about Amy Winehouse to be really funny, but there are so many moments where she just cracks you up.
Oh, word.
So she's really sharp. She's really intelligent. And people who know her knew that, but those of us on the outside, we had no idea.
Yeah,
so it's her wit that really catches. You fall in love with her because you realise how funny she is. You wanted to hang around with her. You wish you'd met her.
We have Fiona's on the line from Long Island. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Fiona.
Hey, what's going on? This is Cy Jones.
Oh, okay.
Whoopsie.
My bad. Fi Jones. My bad. All right.
Hey,
I'm killing names this morning.
good?
Fiona's.
That was nice though, so
There
you
is
put
a
a
wrong.
twist on it.
Yeah, there is a wrong, right? Okay. So you have a question for these gentlemen?
Yeah, I just wanted to say ultimately that it was really unfortunate what happened to her. She was very talented, and I remember years back listening to her music, and I was like, wow, this lady is definitely gonna blow up. I'm really looking forward to watching this documentary. I just watched a documentary on Kurt Cobain, and I learned a lot about him, and I found it to be very interesting. So I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to watching this documentary. Do you guys know if she had like daddy issues or what? Because
that's an interesting question.
yeah, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but generally speaking, if a woman has bulimia issues, that's self-esteem issues. And we gain a lot of who we are and a perception of ourselves from our home. So you know anything about that?
I think the best way I can answer it is if you see the film, you'll realize that we do go into some of these issues, and I think you'll then kind of be able to form your own answer. But I think you're quite perceptive in what you're saying there.
Thanks for your call, Fi Jones. Nick, real
Thank
quick,
you.
I got to ask you this.
Yeah.
Because what made her so appealing to us in the States initially was, who is this girl that sounds like Lauryn Hill?
Yeah.
Okay, we were like, and damn, she's killing it. And
totally.
oh wow, she's from the UK. What was Lauryn a big influence on her?
Absolutely. I'm glad you referenced Lauryn Hill, because I remember starting as a young manager and feeling I'm never going to find anyone on Lauryn Hill's level being in London. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. And then, when I eventually heard Amy's voice, I thought, is this a dream? Like, this girl sounds as good, if not on a level with Lauryn Hill. And then I met her and heard the range at how she could sing and what she had about her. And both of us connected over a bunch of records. But one of the records we really connected on was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Wow. And then off the back of that, we got the credits. This was the days when you used to get the album sleeve and see who did what. And we chased people down that made that record. And two people's names that jumped out was Commissioner Gordon and Salam Remy, who are the two guys that produced her first record, and Salam went on to produce half of Back to Black. But yeah, Lauryn Hill was a huge influence and probably the most important artist to be affecting new music in London between 96 and 2000, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then I interviewed Salam and Commissioner Gordon about Amy, and both of them would then back up the fact that when they heard her, there was something special. I mean, these guys could tell. They know their music, and they would meet this kid who's 18 years old, and she just had something that would blow them away. So she had it. She definitely had it at such a young age. And it was all about the potential. It's the potential of what she could have been. You know, that's what they all could see.
Wow. Commissioner Gordon is like a mentor of mine, and I was around him around the time. Well, right after he did the Lauryn Hill project.
Right.
His wife, who was managing Lauryn Hill, Suzette, is Heather B's best friend. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's small
everyone
world.
is connected.
Music.
That's what I
Everyone's
find.
connected.
Everyone is connected.
And I just have to say that the way Gordon handled us, two young kids from London, you know, both him and Salam, two separate occasions. We got on a plane, we were welcome out there, money wasn't a factor, and I think they're huge characters in Amy's musical development. Huge.
And to be honest, not many people know about their relationship with Amy.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we're talking about them, because people don't know. People don't know that Commissioner Gordon had this relationship. They don't know about Salam. There's other people that kind of became more well known for working with Amy, but they were there from the beginning.
they helped set it up, and set it off.
And they're the one, you know, look at the artists they both work with.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Lauryn Hill and Amy, to name a few.
Yeah. Wow,
Amazing.
gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming by, first of all, and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. All right,
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Nick, good to meet you.
Great to meet you.
All
Great
right,
to be on the show.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys check it out tomorrow. It's called Amy, and it's the story of Amy Winehouse in a way that you never seen her. I saw some of the footage, so it's man, you know, just sit back, get your nice big box of popcorn. Turn your smartphones off. Turn all that stuff off, and go on this adventure with Amy Winehouse. Gentlemen, thank you for coming by.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.